Folks, welcome back to another video on the channel with me, DoctorBenjyFM. 1st of February, not far since we last met against Manchester City, who still remain top of the table and look like they're going to win the league. A slightly different opposition for us today, Wolverhampton Wanderers. You can see it there, viewers. The battle is happening at the bottom of the league table. It's one of those games that if we can win it, it's a big moment in our season, really, because it puts us to 27 points, which is not close to, well, closest to safety, not safety, but it keeps Wolves, who are in the bottom three, down that a little bit lower. You can see they've got a game in hand on Stoke, so they're already on 17 points. If we can keep teams lower, that's the goal here. Survival, viewers, is the name of the game this season, and I had to be reminded by that by a few people in yesterday's comment section. I was disappointed that we didn't do more against Manchester City, despite watching through that video. I watched it back and I thought, I had some really good points here, but they are phenomenal, and we are not phenomenal. We're tired and exhausted are very similar phrases. Tired and lacking a great deal of quality. Today, I'm hoping we can showcase a little bit more of our quality against the Wolves side that currently, should be ashamed of themselves, are below us in the league table. So that's going to be the goal for today. We're just going to do the one game as well. I also play, if I double check, I think I played Derby in the FA Cup, but as of right now, I'm not as interested. We beat Colchester 4-2 in that game. We made that a lot harder than it should have been. I played Doles up front in sort of a rotation. Where can I fit players in? I realise as well now, I played a few of these players that I shouldn't have played because they're tired for the Wolves game. And this is an interesting thing. If players are sort of, their hearts are interesting, aren't they? Because, of course, what I read them as is the risk of injury on Maggle and Lloyd and McGregor is increased. I think fitness-wise, they can probably still go throughout the game. How often do you get injuries late in the game because players are tired? I don't think it happens that much. Now, I've never seen an experiment on this. So if Zealand is watching, figure out how much if players run less when they are tired, and if they actually do or not. So someone work on that for me, and I'll do the video on it, because I don't know how we could track it other than looking at distance run and seeing how different it is when players are tired and not tired. I don't know. I'm sure there's a way to do it. I don't know what it is. I want answers, basically. We could bust a myth that this or these matter, because or could you just play them from the start, no matter what their fitness conditioning is? I don't know. I missed the percentages, viewers, don't you? It's a lot clearer. If they're below 90%, definitely not. What is this, 88? I could deal with 88. You always risk 88. That was always the rule. Going into this game then, Nee will be in goal, Pizarro and Maggle either side. People find it as hilarious as I do. Götze and Osmanovic, both from Dortmund, don't get on, don't like each other. Are growing into their roles though here at Thames, I feel like, so that's good news. Catania and McGregor, again, not a partnership yet, but building towards that. Serpak and Maggle, they've actually got a bit of a bond going on over on that side, which is what I've always wanted. And Solomon and Ehrmantraut, not quite yet either. It's been a little bit mishmash up front, which is probably why Doles has played a few times below, etc. With all of this said, though, would you change the fitness against a side like Wolves? That's my big conversation, and I don't necessarily know the answer. I guess I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to play attacking. I'm going to see how we get on, and I may switch things up and play Mazzala at some point, and if you watched yesterday, you'll know exactly why. Okay, Wolves versus AFC Thames. Lots of other sides playing, but again, some of the sides down there at the bottom aren't. I can't see, I don't know Aston Villa there, Stoke, or Wolves, so this will be a big game for us. Burnley as well, another side that if we can get these wins, climb our way towards mid-table, I would love to go into the end of the season not having to win. We have some tough games towards the back end of the year against Tottenham, against Manchester United, which, they're traditionally tough games, but our run-in is actually, overall, it's pretty kind. All right, a bit of a one-off, a bit of a risk to be taken. You can see all the changes that come in from our FA Cup game, and can my first team selection do the business? Because I'm putting a lot of pressure on this game, really. I suspect, and I've not looked, but I suspect that some of the Wolves players are phenomenally good, and I kind of want to find out. Danny Cowley is their manager, which is nice in a way. Let's take a look then. Their top performer this season, I guess we'll base it on average rating. So this fella here, they've got on loan from Southampton, is okay. It's not amazing, actually. It's not maybe as good as I thought it would be. When I compare him to what I've got, he's quite good. This is a side that have been in the Premier League for a little bit longer than we have. That's the long and short of it. But compared to the City side, they are certainly not of the same level. And we've put in some really good performances against sides like this. A lot of you liked the fact we got a bit more technical yesterday, so we're going to try and do a similar thing for today's one, and then hopefully the madness of actually achieving things in the future returns. But right now, it's a battle, right? It's a bit like chess. which is, I would say, I don't know how much of a battle chess is. I do like chess. I don't play it nearly enough. But here we go. Racing forward, Catania. Now, we've beaten some big sides. That is a fascinating first effort. We've beaten some big sides this season. That win against Liverpool stands out to me. But generally speaking, we've been defeated by them. Against these middling sides, very mixed results. We've beaten a few of the guys in the bottom 8. We've certainly lost to them as well. So it's going to be one of those games. Is it a draw written all over it, viewers? Maybe so. Again, starting attacking away from home, it's a bit of a gamble. Again, I'm really curious to find out what the roles that these players are playing are, as we've got the short corner. They're not marking it, which when teams don't mark it, our success rate increases quite highly, although the cross in is cut away, and then Catania now on that, or Catania on that side. I don't know why I'm trying to overcomplicate a name. I'm saying perfectly. They're keeping it relatively neatly, although the press from us there is actually pretty good. It comes up to this side and Serpak nabs in. It's a bit of a 3v2 situation. Serpak goes alone. Oh, Serpak. I always think of the butter. I know it's Lurpak, but I can't help it. So if he does amazing things for me, he'll be Sir Serpak, so which will be more confusing. The ball is, Solomon's been pushed there. Now, was he pushed inside or outside the area? I genuinely don't know where he was pushed. They're going to go and look at it, the VAR. Just something, this reminds me of a feature I would like. When they go over to the monitor to view the VAR, this should show a replay of what we've just seen there. So that when it comes back, we have seen the replay, and then they come back and they say, penalty awarded. And they say, no penalty. It's outside the box. Flipping heck. But that would make the VAR a lot more interesting than it currently is. Right now, it's very tedious. And I can't turn it off, but I'm back in the Prem now, so I thought I'd treat myself. Pizarro has a shot that is blocked wildly. We're still in possession here, which is quite nice. They're already suggesting that my tired players should be coming off the pitch. So, 45 minutes in, it's not great as they've got a free kick in a dangerous area. I was going to say, I'm really worried about this guy who is currently mid-air. Oh, no. Okay, blocked. So we stem the first attempt, and then he heads the ball in anyway. Oh, Yannick Perez. Set pieces. We are so lax on set pieces. I don't know what it is, as the ball is angrily kicked by knee forward. It hits my player in the face, and then this, I've got to say, this delivery there, he's the wrong side of my defender, and he just heads it in. It's quite simple, but quite effective, which is annoying. This is one of those games. I'm not sure if this is just like... Because we talked about it yesterday. Do we just play this style against these sides and hope that because we're well connected, because our players are used to playing this way, that it's fine? I'm looking through here. It's like some of our tired players are having quite poor games. McGregor, not having a great game. Lloyd, not having a great game. So it's certainly linked, potentially. The problem is John Smith is my other right-wing option. Actually, no, he's not. I've got a solution. Below's going to come on for Lloyd. Solomon is going to play as a wide right winger. And then in central midfield, Agbaji's going to come in for McGregor. He's on a booking. He's tired. I don't want to risk him getting sent off. So a double change. It does make us a little bit weaker, must be said. So... can we get back in it now? And is there anything I can do to maybe impact that? We've had 6 yellow cards. We have so many yellow cards, which I don't know if that affects us generally, or if it's better that we're playing with that sort of aggressiveness. We don't give away that many penalties anymore. I mean, oh my God, he's missed the ball. The shot goes in. I mean, the keeper didn't move. He's missed the header. It wasn't ideal. I think the way we're playing right now is not creating enough. I think our tempo is arguably too quick. So I'm going to try and slow everything down, try and be a little bit more technical, try and be a bit smarter with our play, and see if we can find an opening. We've got 20 minutes to go. We're still attacking. I don't know, dribble less maybe? Just work the ball a little bit more. All right, we've got a free kick of our own now. Serpak, ball in, back post. Oh my, what on earth is that? Lopez has made a save. I feel like I don't want to criticise the game. I'm going to try and criticise the game. Is he diving before he's even headed the ball? Oh, he was already mid-air. I mean... and then he's just caught it. He's the best goalkeeper in the world, viewers. And it's a shame that we're playing against him. What I will say is distribution wasn't great, as we do get the ball back. Now, I don't know if the highlight was over with that free kick, or if actually we're going to try and find an opening. As Solomon, I mean, I know we've slowed down the tempo, but he fell asleep then, which was not ideal. The shot goes in, saves the first one. They're not finished yet, though, as defensively we do okay. Solomon on it. So you have to launch it forward. 20 minutes to go. Is there another attacking change I can make? I mean, we can move Serpak further forward, maybe. Is that the only thing you can do? Maybe bring Dominic Doles into the equation, play him out there. He's very creative. We need something from the front two, though, and so far it's not happening. 15 minutes to go. Again, I'll try and encourage them. I'm going to come off attacking and go to positive. I think we're playing too quickly, and that is part of the problem. And this game I said pre-game is going to be a big one, and it's going to be a big one because it's dragging us back in to the relegation battle. I knew one way or another it was going to be interesting, and yeah, this is not the way I wanted it to go. So I was hoping today was going to be our big sort of let's escape relegation. The way things are going, I've paused the game there, looked at my bench, thought there's nothing I can do. Do you know what? No, that's not true. There isn't nothing I can do. Be braver, Ben. Come on. You know, in times of trouble, I can't make any more substitutions. Right, it doesn't matter. You can play out there. I'm convinced of it. 3 strikers. We'll just go for it, shall we? I mean, what have we got to lose here? The game. We've got the game to lose. Right. That's So why have we lost? Right, I'm going to find out, because I said like today, it's easy to look at that and go, we've been a bit unlucky. I mean, the argument is I would always play like this, and sometimes I would win. They've had 2 shots on target. One I think was blocked, and then the other one he's headed in, like the same movement. In terms of passing, there's not a lot of passing going on from either side. Like, no team has tried to control that game, and I do wonder, had we tried to play a bit more of a possession style against them, would we have been more effective? But could we have done that in the 4-4-2 as well? I don't know. Questions need to be asked, really. Again, it's one of those games. I mean, I want to look at the heat maps specifically to see where we're doing our best work. So Wolves are very central based, and I think Thames are the same. Yeah, there's a few moments where we're having corners and free kicks, but apart from that, we're working everything, it feels like, through the middle. And do we need to be a bit smarter with our play out wide? Maybe like the midfield battle was. I felt like there must have been a lot of misplaced passes. Is that true? It feels like that. If you go back to the match stats, then I mean, we've misplaced nearly 60 passes. They're similar, 60 passes. Like, we've given the ball away a lot. I don't know. Is it long balls? Okay, we need to figure this out. Well, the pass completion of our defence is 79%. Those are 66. That just suggests we are playing at times too direct. We're playing to try and get those 2 boys up front and behind. Those teams are either dropping deeper, which I don't necessarily think was the case this time around. Actually, no, Wolves were playing quite deep. We were the more aggressive team throughout the whole game. You can see we're playing like way higher up than they are, and shape-wise, it's interesting that our 2 strikers, one of them has dropped in a little more often, despite the fact that that's not what I want him to do. He's done that a lot. Actually, who is 19? I assume that's not below, is it? Is that below? And I realise, okay, that's confusing now, because that's our starting 11. It's actually Solomon, who of course came out to the right-hand side, so that isn't necessarily as accurate as I'd want it to be. So we can change that. So again, you can kind of see the problem you've got, because Solomon is moving across to the side. But if we look at maybe the first hour or so, you can see the way the shapes they're operating. This player is too isolated. So there's a reason they've not been better in the game. They beat us 1-0, right, from like a set piece that broke down and we didn't react quick enough. They've got no real attacking threat in forward areas. These players are being held back pretty well by Pizarro and by Magel on either side. But equally for us, we are finding very little penetration in behind their midfield, especially, who are very, very well set. And we're not using enough of our wide players and getting these defenders isolated. That's how it feels to me. So you can see from Thames, without the ball, we are sat very much in 2 banks of 4. And it's interesting that our defensive deep line playmaker is slightly higher than our box-to-box player, who is, again, sitting that little bit deeper. With the ball, it slightly changes, right? The box-to-box player will play slightly further forward, and our wingers are pushed up a fair amount, to be fair. Again, is there too much disconnect between these 4? Like, again, I've talked about triangles quite a lot and playing in triangles, and I'm not sure with the instructions that we have. If we just go back to our tactic, actually, as well, I will say we're disappointed, even though we were underdogs, because it's an away game against the side of the Premier League. I don't know if our instructions are playing well enough into actually what we need to do against those types of teams. So it's interesting, because we've played a game against City where that higher tempo, it felt like, because the game was a bit more random, it gave us a better chance. Whereas against a team like Wolves, that I'm going into hoping to, I'm talking very detailed about Football Manager here, which I've become conscious of, because it's not what I've built my reputation on. But you look at the way things are happening here, run at the defence, playing extremely high, passing into space, like we're looking for openings quickly. Like, these almost contradict each other. You can't run at the defence and pass into space as often, right? Like, I don't know if those two contradict enough, really. Like, when we're on the ball, are we running with it, especially in wide areas? Which players are doing this the most? It's almost like sometimes the tactics of Football Manager are a little bit too vague. Like, are our fullbacks doing it? Are our centre-backs doing it? Is it players only on attack duties? Like, I don't really know the answer to the questions. But you sort of just play it by ear, don't you? You just think, well, yeah, in attacking positions, I want us to run at them rather than dribble less, and I want us to work it into the box. Of course, you could change it completely and play a different style, and maybe that would have been what would have worked for me. Coming off attacking, going more balanced. Our tempo then would have been a lot slower. Our pass directness, of course, would be a lot shorter, and we might be able to work those openings, especially if you're focusing play more into wider areas. Like we're looking for the overlap in that game there. It didn't seem that way based upon where our player positioning was. And I think, and I've talked about it a lot in my actual real life videos with England, is that we weren't in control of the game at all. And that then brings us back down to the ability argument of, do we have enough quality to do that right now? And which strengths do we play into? Do we play into the fact that our wingers can be quite quick and relatively technical, and our strikers are very fast, and our back line is quite young, and as a result is quite physically athletic, so you can play a higher line? Because as things stand at the moment, we do play a much higher line because our defence is pretty quick. Like we take that risk, basically, force oppositions inside to take the pressure off our wing backs who maybe aren't quite as good defensively. These are all things we're thinking about when building this tactic. And of course, we've gone to a 4-4-2 in the last few years, and against better sides, we've had, I don't know, I think that pace and those problems that we've managed to cause other teams, and playing a higher line, and of course, being a human playing against the AI, I get to sort of pick and choose what I do a little bit more sporadically than the AI would, because they're playing a very consistent way over the course of a season with changes sort of game to game almost. Whereas we're trying to build a system that works and we can bring players into and take players out of. I don't know if I've got enough other ideas in terms of how we play the team, because of course we can play a 4-2-3-1. We've got a player like Dolls to come in, and in games against Wolves, I'm sort of basically, what I'm doing here is, I would be having this conversation with myself anyway, but I'm doing it in a video for a change. Like, are we going to have more control if Dolls sits in the middle and is our playmaker, and you take that responsibility of playmaking away from the central midfield areas? Do you play McGregor on a support role and Catania on support roles, or do you have one of them be more defensive and sitting that little deeper, and everything sort of works through Dolls instead? And then you've got to make a choice with your striker, whether it be Solomon or Iman Trout or Below or whoever. Is this the way forward against sides that we can beat? Because again, it's going to allow us to have that bit more control when they might be playing a little more sporadically. I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know. I think this is something I'm going to have to consider, and I'm going to have to try. We play Derby in an upcoming cup game, and I'll do it against them, and I'll do it against Leicester as well, who I think are sort of a decent side, but not an amazing team. Yeah, they're ninth in the table. I think I'm going to try, and this is a weird time to do it with the second half of the season coming up, and we've had some success in the first part of the year, but I do think now I've seen the squad in this environment, and I'm seeing the way that we're losing games specifically, is that we can play a more possession-based style, I think. I think our athleticism will allow us to do it rather than our technical ability, which is strange because you think it'd be the other way around. But I think if we can outwork teams by being technically better, because I don't think teams expect it either. I think if teams are now expecting us, because the AI learn how you play, right? And our ability, and this is what I say, like the human versus the AI, our ability to switch it up might be what brings us better results. And I think that's what we're going to go with. So just when you thought we were having a one-game episode today and it was going to be shorter, we've had a big conversation, but I think I feel clearer with my thoughts now. Hopefully you've enjoyed listening to this. Maybe it impacts the way you play Football Manager even this late into a game cycle, and some food for thought. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I read a lot of them yesterday, and people were debating this sort of thing actually, so I thought I'd sort of have a bit more of a detailed conversation about it today. Jokes will return soon for those that are here for that, but thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon, whether it be live or here. Goodbye everybody, take care.